अस्सलाम वालेकुम क्लास। अपने माइक जरा अनम्यूट कर लें।
मैम वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
Can anybody tell me what we discussed last time? Anybody else? Last time क्या डिस्कस किया था हमने?
मैम एपिडेमियोलॉजी किया था और उसके अंदर जो डेफिनेशन से इम्पोर्टेंट वो
What
किए
is
थे उसके यूजेस।
epidemiology? Quickly बताएं। Qasim, unmute your mic and tell me what is epidemiology.
मैम मैं बताऊं?
नहीं, कासिम बताएगा। कासिम बताएगा। कासिम है लेक्चर में?
मैम नहीं है वो।
आप कौन हो जो बोले हो नहीं है?
मैम अहमद।
अहमद, आप बताओ व्हाट इज एपिडेमियोलॉजी?
मैम ये मैम मेडिसिन की ब्रांच है which deals with the distribution and possible control of diseases.
3 कंपोनेंट्स मैंने बताए थे एपिडेमियोलॉजी में। टेल मी दैट 3 कंपोनेंट्स।
मैम इसमें एनवायरनमेंट, मैम एजेंट वगैरह होस्ट।
बच्चे आप लास्ट लेक्चर यू डिडंट अटेंड माय लास्ट लेक्चर?
मैम मैं था नहीं, लेकिन मैम ये एजेंट से रिलेटेड था, होस्ट वगैरह
बच्चे
और
एजेंट,
डिजीजेस।
आई एम जस्ट आस्किंग अबाउट द एपिडेमियोलॉजी definition and enumerate and list 3 components that I have told
मैम
you in my last lecture.
मैम डिजीज और
कौन
मैम
वो जो पहले लड़की थी वही बताए, कौन थी?
मैम epidemiology is the study of distribution of disease, determinants of disease and disease frequency in human populations.
In human population, very good. What are the tools of measurements for epidemiology?
Ma'am, the tools of measurement is death rate and
Very
death ratio.
Mortality
death
rates and
rate
morbidity rates, ठीक है?
जी
इसके अलावा डिसेबिलिटी रेट्स और नेटेलिटी रेट्स आप लोग
जी
बिल्कुल भी नहीं पढ़ते। पहली बात तो ये कि एब्सेंस बहुत होने लग गई है स्टूडेंट्स की, ठीक है? लेक्चर से बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स जो है वो एब्सेंट होते हैं। मैं देख रही थी आप लोगों की रोल कॉल, तो क्या वजह है कि अटेंडेंस बहुत ज़्यादा हो गई है आप लोगों की। 110% हो गई अटेंडेंस जो आप लोग एब्सेंट होने शुरू हो गए हैं। 18, 19, 20 स्टूडेंट्स एब्सेंट होते हैं लेक्चर से। ये मैं आज जरा देखती हूँ ना कलेक्टिवली डॉक्टर नबील से मंगवा के सारी अटेंडेंसेस लास्ट 5-6, और जो इसमें कंटिन्यूसली एब्सेंट है ना उनके फिर मैं अगेंस्ट एक्शन लेती हूँ, ठीक है? ये अभी जो हम पढ़ रहे हैं ना टॉपिक्स, ये बड़े इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक्स हैं और ये खुद से समझ भी नहीं आने आप लोगों को। इसलिए अपनी जो अटेंडेंस है ना लेक्चर में वो पूरी रखें आप लोग। अच्छा, last time unfortunately I couldn't complete my lecture because of the shortage of time. So today I'm not gonna complete the remaining part of previous lecture because अगर मैंने उसे complete करने में रह गई तो आज वाला lecture भी जो है वो आधा रह जाएगा, ठीक है? तो आज जो है हम आज का ही लेक्चर करते हैं कंप्लीट, उसको फिर आई विल कंप्लीट इन आवर नेक्स्ट लेक्चर. ओके, सो टुडे आवर टॉपिक ऑफ आवर कंटेंट ऑफ डिस्कशन. डॉक्टर नबील, ये कैसे होगा? So today's content of discussion is we will discuss classification of epidemiological methods, what is descriptive epidemiology, various steps involved in descriptive epidemiology, and uses of descriptive epidemiology. So let's start with the classification of epidemiological methods. Epidemiological methods basically divided into two groups, into two studies. One is observational studies and the second is experimental or interventional studies. Observational studies will be further divided into two types of studies: descriptive studies and analytical studies. And when we talk about experimental or interventional studies, they are further divided into three groups. One is randomized controlled trials, field trials, and community trials. And analytical studies further divided into four types of studies: cross-sectional studies, case control studies, cohort studies, and ecological studies. So this is all about the classification of epidemiological method. It is very important. So first of all, observational studies basically only allow the nature to take its own course. The investigator only measures but does not intervene. When we compared with the experimental epidemiology. In experimental epidemiology, we need to intervene something. We need to go for experiment. Experiment can be of any drug, can be of anything else. But in observational studies, we only observe the ecological factors of any disease. We do not go for intervention. Descriptive analysis, that is a branch of observational study. In descriptive analysis, it is just limited to a description of the course of disease, just description of the occurrence of a disease in any population. We will just describe the disease in relation to its distribution, in relation to its frequency. We will just describe the disease. So descriptive studies only concerned with the observing the distribution of disease in human population. That distribution of disease can be in terms of time, place, and person. And then we will identify the characteristics which the disease seems to be associated. So there are certain steps, there are certain procedural steps that are involved in descriptive studies. First, we will define the population that is going to be studied. Second, we will define the disease. Third, describing the disease in terms of time, place, and person. Four, we will measure the disease. Fifth, we will compare the disease with the known indices, with the known gold standards. And in the last, we will formulate a hypothesis. So these are the steps that we are going to discuss in detail. First is define the population that we are going to study. In descriptive studies, are investigation, just investigations of the population. We are not going to intervene. We just investigate the diseases in the population. So a defined population should not only be in terms of total number. only total number of the population, we just know how many people, 420 or 500 people are going to take part in our study. It's not just this thing is important, but also we need to know some important characteristics that includes age, sex, occupation, marital status, etc. So the defined population should have some characteristics. Defined population can be a whole geographic region or a representative sample of that whole population. For example, a geographic region contains 5,000 people, and I'm going to study something in that population. I will take just 500 sample from that population. That 500 sample will be the representative of the whole population that will have same characteristics as of that the whole population. So defined population could be a specifically selected group based on age, sex, occupation, marital status, etc. For example, I'm going to conduct a study, and in which I just want the study population aged between 35 to 40 years of age, the age between 20 to 55 years of age. So that will be a specifically selected group. Okay. For example, if I'm going to conduct a study in a population in which I just want a geriatric group, I don't want adults, I don't want adolescents, young age group people, I just want a geriatric group. So it's basically a specifically selected group. This is called specifically selected group. A defined population should be large enough so that it is meaningful. Um, it means uh, our sample size should be large enough. The sample that we are taking from the whole population should be large enough. So it will give us true results. It will give us valid, precise results. Defined population should be stable without migration into or out. ऐसा नहीं है कि मैंने स्टडी पॉपुलेशन ली है और उसमें से 100 लोग जो है वो माइग्रेट कर गए हैं या 100 लोग बाहर से माइग्रेट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, जहां से मैंने पॉपुलेशन लिया. तो डिफाइंड पॉपुलेशन शुड बी स्टेबल विदाउट माइग्रेशन इनटू और आउट, and it should not be different from other communities in the region. It should have the same characteristics. ठीक है. Next step is defining the disease. This definition of the disease that definition and epidemiologist sets, this definition will be different from the clinician's definition of a disease. So the epidemiologist defines the disease which can be measured and identified in a population with a degree of accuracy. That definition should be precise and valid to identify those who have the disease from those who do not have the disease. And in epidemiological terminology, we will call it this definition as operational definition. Okay. So this operational definition of disease when we are going to conduct any study is very important. Next step is description of the disease. Description of disease in 3 ways. Description of disease in terms of time, in terms of place, and in terms of person. When we talk about time, it includes, we will talk usually years, season, months, week, days, or of onset of disease or duration of the onset of disease. And when we talk about place, it can be a climate zone, a warmer area, a colder area. It can be a country, region, urban or rural area, local community, town, cities, institution. We can take any place for the study. It's my own choice, or it's according to the nature of disease that I'm going to choose the area. Next is person. In person, we have two important things. First is the characteristics of the people, including age, sex, marital status, occupation, socioeconomic status is very important. Education factor is very important. इसके अलावा birth order, family size, height, weight, other risk factors that include blood pressure, blood cholesterol, and personal habits. So this is basically all three components: time, place, and person are very important when we are going to describe any disease in descriptive studies. First is we will discuss the first component, that is time, in detail. When we talk about time distribution of diseases, diseases can be short-term fluctuation, can have short-term fluctuations, can have periodic fluctuations, or long-term or secular trends. And in short-term fluctuations, we can have a diseases that can have common source, propagated, or modern type of diseases. And when we talk about periodic fluctuations, these include seasonal trends or cyclic trends of diseases. Further, when we talk about common source of disease, that common source may be from a single point exposure, or that may be from a continuous or multiple exposure. And when we talk about propagated diseases may be transmitted from person to person. They can be a vector borne, they can be reservoir in animals. So let's discuss what is short-term fluctuation. When we talk about short-term fluctuation, epidemic is the best example for a short-term fluctuation disease. Because as I told you in our previous lecture, epidemic is the occurrence of a disease in a community or region, or other health related events clearly in excess of normal expectancy. Anything that will exceed to the normal expectancy. जहाँ पर 20 केसेस आ रहे हैं, 20 की जगह 100 आ गए, 1000 आ गए, so that is the excess from the normal expectancy. This is called epidemic. So short term fluctuation की best example जो है वो epidemic है. Types इसमें कौन कौन सी होंगी? As I told you in the time distribution, short-term fluctuation may be of common source epidemics, propagated epidemics, or modern type of epidemics. Common source epidemics can be of single point exposure and can be of continuous multiple exposure. सिंगल पॉइंट एक्सपोजर की बेस्ट एग्जांपल जो है वो फूड पॉइजनिंग है. ठीक है, जब आप सिंगल टाइम आपका एक्सपोजर हुआ है टू एनी टॉक्सिक substance that is present in your food, and you eat that food and you got food poisoning. And when we talk about continuous or multiple exposure, the best example will be you are you are drinking a contaminated water from a continuous source, and continuously you are drinking that water, and you are going to involve in any intestinal or stomach or abdominal diseases. So this is the best example of continuous multiple exposure. Propagated epidemics it can be this type of epidemic can be transmitted from person to person. It can be a vector borne or it can be a reservoir borne. I'm not going in detail this person to person or vector borne or reservoir infection, because I have told you in our first chapter very detailed all the transmission of diseases, direct or indirect ways of transmission. Then modern epidemics. Modern epidemics are the all the chronic diseases of the current era, including coronary heart diseases, including blood pressure, hypertension, including oral cancer, etc. All these diseases are the modern epidemics. Next is periodic fluctuations. Periodic fluctuations basically involve seasonal trend or cyclic trend. Seasonal trend is the characteristic of many diseases. Many communicable diseases are seasonal. Just like when we talk about measles are seasonal. कोई season आता है 2-3 महीने का, जिसमें साल में measles का हम कहते हैं कि अब बच्चों को आप जो है वो measles की vaccination वगैरह जरूर लगवाएं. Measles is a disease that have seasonal trend. इसके अलावा upper respiratory tract infections are seasonal. They usually appear during the winter season. Malaria is seasonal when there is a season of a lot of mosquitoes, जो कि अब आने वाला है, तो that is a seasonal trend. ठीक है, malaria is a disease that have a seasonal trend. When we talk about non-infectious diseases, in non-infectious diseases में sunstroke is seasonal. जब bright sunny days में जो है sunstroke होने के chances होते हैं, ठीक है, तो that is seasonal. Next is cyclic trend. In cyclic trend, some diseases occur in cycles spread over a short periods of time, days, weeks, months, or years. For example, we will take example of influenza pandemics. Influenza pandemics are known to occur at intervals of 7 to 10 years due to एंटीजेनिक वेरिएशंस. ठीक है, इन्फ्लुएंजा की जो पेंडेमिक थी उसका ट्रेंड जो था वो साइक्लिक ट्रेंड था, और द होल इंटरवल वाज द 7 to 10 years. And when we talk about non-infectious conditions, the best example is automobile accidents in United States that are most frequently occur on weekends. ठीक है, so it's basically on every weekend automobile accidents rates increase. So it's basically a cyclic trend of that automobile accidents. Long-term trends, it refers to changes in the occurrence of disease over a long period of time. For example, it includes all our chronic diseases that having the occurrence of disease, progression of disease over a longer period of time. For example, heart diseases, coronary heart diseases, diabetes, showing consistent upward trend. If we talk about modern civilization, these chronic diseases including heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, oral cancers, a cancer of any kind, these diseases are showing consistent upward trend and a decline in tuberculosis, polio in developed countries during the last 50 years. Unfortunately, polio is still we have we have polio cases in our country. It's not eradicated in our country, but when we talk about, because our country is not a developed country, our country is underdeveloped country. When we talk about developed countries, the rate of chronic diseases like including coronary heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, or cancer increasing, having a consistent upward trend, and decreasing in the infectious diseases that includes tuberculosis, polio, measles, etc. in developed countries. So it's a long-term trends of disease. Next component, we have discussed time distribution. Next component is place distribution. When we talk about place, it can also be international, it can be a national place, it can be a rural, urban, or it can be a local distribution of disease. So in international variation of diseases, descriptive studies have shown that pattern of disease is not the same everywhere. Pattern of disease is not the same. Emergence of disease, risk factors for the disease is not as same as in any country, anywhere. For example, cancer of stomach is very common in Japan, but it's unusual in United States. And when we talk about Pakistan, so anemia is very common in Pakistan when we compared with the other countries. Malnutrition is very common in Pakistan. Our children, most of our children are malnourished when we go to the urban area, rural areas. Sorry. इसी तरह many of the other diseases are very common in Pakistan when we compared those diseases with the other countries that are not more prevalent in that countries. National variations, there are variations in the diseases occurrence within the countries. For example, when we talk about oral cancer and endemic fluorosis, this distribution of oral cancer and endemic fluorosis show variations in their distribution in Pakistan. Fluorosis in many areas of Pakistan, it is more prevalent than the other areas. Just like in many areas of Lahore, fluorosis is very common. When we talk about oral cancer is very common in Sindh or Khyber Pakhtunkhwa side when we compared it with the Punjab. So there are variations in the occurrence of disease even within the countries. Okay. When we talk about rural-urban variation, yes, some diseases are more common in rural areas, some diseases are more prevalent in urban areas. This is just due to the differences in population density, levels of sanitation, deficiencies of medical care, education, and environmental lack of environmental factors. Let's say, for example, chronic bronchitis, cardiovascular diseases, accidents are more frequent in urban areas than in the rural areas. But infant mortality rate, maternal mortality rate are higher in rural areas than the urban areas because of the lack of education, because of the lack of awareness. So many diseases are common in rural areas. Other diseases are common in urban areas of the country. Then talk about the local distribution of disease. These variations can be whenever we need to study, we need to describe the study in terms of its local distribution. We will use a map that is called spot or shaded map. This map showed the clustering of the people having the disease with the same cause. So then it will suggest a common source of infection. For example, study of cholera epidemic by John Snow in 1854. He used that spot or shaded maps, and when he saw the clustering of the people in that map, so he suggests that this clustering of the people in the map is just because they are having cholera with the common source of infection. So this is how we can study the disease with the local distribution. We can study the risk factors of the disease. We can study the common source of disease according to the local distribution. Next is very important, migration studies. Migration studies is a type of study. We use migration studies in a way to distinguish the genetic and environmental factors. This study can be carried out in two ways. First, we study genetically similar groups but living under different environmental conditions. For example, twins. We just study the genetically similar groups but living under the different environmental conditions. So because of these migration studies, we will know the fact that this disease that is present in the people is not because of the environmental condition. It's just because of the genetic makeup, their genetic inheritance. And next is just three. Okay. Study of genetically different groups living in a similar environment. So this type of study will tell us that if the people are living in the same area, but they have the same, if people are living in the same area and they have the same similar disease, that disease will not because of their genetically makeup. That disease will be just because of the similar environmental factors. For example, men of Japanese origin living in the United States have higher rate of coronary heart disease than the Japanese in Japan. So it's not because of the Japanese migrated to United States of America. It's because of the environmental factors that are present in the United States of America. They are suffering from the coronary heart disease. So both genetic makeup and the environmental factors both are important in a similar way. Okay. Next is person distribution. As I have told you, person distribution, the disease can be characterized by defining a person who develops a disease. It can be based on age, sex, occupation, marital status, social factors, habits, and other host factors. These all characteristics are very important when we are going to study any disease. Age. You all must know that some diseases are age related. Certain diseases are more frequent in certain age groups. For example, measles in childhood, cancer in middle age, and atherosclerosis or bone diseases in old age group. Many chronic and degenerative diseases show a progressive increase in prevalence with advancing age. So age is very important while you are going to study any disease. Similar sex is very important. Some diseases are more common in males. Some diseases are more commonly present in females. Biological differences like sex-linked genetic inheritance is very important. Cultural and behavioral differences are also very important in this way. For example, 4:1 male to female ratio in lung cancer due to cigarette smoking. Because some females also smoke, but smoking ratio is more prevalent in males. Ethnicity differences in racial and ethnic group differences in our customs, in our cultural beliefs. Because of that, diseases may be differ in different regions due to the ethnicity group. Marital status, according to the studies, the mortality rates were lower for the married people than unmarried. The reason they told is, according to the demographics and sociologists, marriages are selective with respect to health of the individual. Healthier the individual, the more likely to get married. Occupation, many